Jnanakosha, Puranas,
सर्गच्च प्रतिसर्गच्च वंशो मन्वन्तराणि च वंशानुचरितं चैव पुराणं पञ्चलक्षणम्.
Markandeya Purana. The hermit's sons become alive. Markandeya says, when Avikshit reached the oblation site, he found that the whole atmosphere was ablaze by the tremendous heat generated by Marut's weapon. Samvrat, he requested Marut to drop his weapon, but Marut refused by saying, "O father, these serpents are the culprits. They have killed the hermit's sons. They have also polluted the reservoir and caused obstacles in the accomplishment of oblation rituals. I am never going to forgive him." Avikshit told Marut that the serpents had taken his refuse and hence he should forgive them to protect the honor of his father's promise. When Marut did not listen, Avikshit picked up his weapon, called to kill him. Marut inquired from him as to why he was trying to kill his own son, who was just performing his duty of protecting the oblation site from the serpents. Avikshit replied that he too was duty bound to protect the serpents that had taken his refuse. When the sages saw both our father and son were bent on killing each other, they intervened and advised them against killing each other. Right then a sage came with the news that the serpents had agreed to make all the dead sons of hermits alive. Thus all the dead sons of the hermits became alive, and once again the father and son were prevented by killing each other. From then onwards, Marut took proper care while ruling his kingdom. Later on, he married Sukesha, the daughter of Kekeya, Saidhavi, the daughter of Sindhuraj, Vayusmati, the daughter of Chediraj. He had 18 sons from his wives, among whom Narishyant was the eldest. King Narishyant. Markandeya says, among the 18 sons of Marut, Narishyant was the eldest. Marut ruled over his kingdom for 70,015 years, after which Narishyant succeeded him as the king. Marut went to the forest to do penance. After becoming the king, Narishyant decided to perform a grand yajna, the like of which had never been accomplished by his ancestors. Narishyant made such huge donations to the Brahmins that it was more than enough for their future generations to come. Once Narishyant decided to organize another yajna, grander than the earlier one, but no priest was found to supervise it. At his repeated request, some Brahmins agreed to supervise the yajna. But this particular yajna was unique of its kind because the Brahmins played the part of host as well as that of priest. The Brahmins made donations to the Brahmins who were acting as priests. In this grand yajna, crowds of yajnas were performed in all the directions of the earth at one time. This grand yajna was possible only because of the wealth donated to the Brahmins by King Narishyant. Narishyant was such a religious and virtuous king. Narishyant felt joyous that due to his donations the Brahmins had become wealthy, and at the same time he was also sad that his desire of performing a great yajna was not going to be accomplished as the Brahmins no longer needed donations. Sumana chooses Dama as her husband. Markandeya says Dama was the son of Narishyant. His mother was Indrasena, the daughter of Bruhu. He became the master in archery under the tutelage of Vrishaparva. He also learned the nuances of handling other kinds of weapons under the guidance of Dundubhi. He learned the scriptures from sage Shakti and the art of yoga from Aristan. Sumana, the daughter of King Charushrama, Sharma had chosen Dama as her husband in a Swayamvara, but Mahananda, Vaishman, and Mahadhanu did not like her decision as they too wanted to marry her. All three of them decided to abduct her by force and marry whoever among them she decided to marry with. Their evil intentions were corroborated by the friends of Dama. Thus all the three of them abducted Sumana. Dama became angry. He asked all the kings who were present in the Swayamvara, "Tell me whether Swayamvara is religious or irreligious." One of the kings said that certainly a Swayamvara is religious and only Dama has the right to marry Sumana as she had herself chosen him. But some other king supported Dama's opponent. They said Rakshasa Vivaha is the norm prevalent among people possessing arms. Only such a person has a right to marry Sumana who has defeated his rivals. Dama became furious with them. He knew that they were saying such things out of jealousy, but still he decided to accept their proposal. He threw an open challenge by saying, "Anybody who wants to die may abduct my wife in front of my eyes." A tremendous battle was fought between Dama and his opponent. At first, Mahananda came forward to fight him with a sword in his hand. Dama showered a volley of arrows at him. All the arrows were neutralized by Mahananda. After that, Mahananda jumped and climbed on the chariot of Dama. Dama severed his head after the killing of Mahananda. Vaishman came forward to fight Dama, but his sword was broken into two pieces by the assault of Dama. Dama then killed his charioteer. After that, Vaishman picked up his spiked mace, but Dama destroyed even his mace. In the battle, Vaishman got injured and fell on the ground. Vaishman quit the idea of fighting. Seeing him reluctant to fight, Dama spared his life. At last, Sharma married his daughter Sumana with Dama. After staying for some days at his father-in-law's place, Dama returned home accompanied by his wife Sumana. Killing of Narishanth. Markandeya says, when the newly married couple Dama and Sumana returned to the capital, King Narishanth was extremely pleased. King Narishanth, after knowing about the brave deeds of his son, was very proud of him. As he had become old, he appointed Dama as his successor, and he went in the forest to do penance, accompanied by his wife Indrasena. Once Vaishman came in the same forest where King Narishanth was doing his penance. After seeing Narishanth and his wife, he inquired as to who they were. But King Narishanth did not give any reply as he was observing a Maunavrata. Somehow Vaishman came to know about his identity, and he was none other than the father of his bitter enemy Dama. He felt that this was the most opportune moment for him to take his revenge and killed Narishanth. Indrasena, on seeing her dead husband, started to wail. All the sages and hermits who were doing penance in that forest arrived there and started cursing Vaishman for the grave sin he had committed. Indrasena requested one of the sages to go and inform Dama about his father's death. She said, "Go and tell him that his father Narishanth had been killed by Vaishman while he was doing penance. Now it was his duty to avenge his father's death." After saying this, Indrasena committed sati by jumping into the burning fire of her husband. King Dama kills Vaishman. Markandeya says, when Dama came to know about his father's death, he became extremely furious. Although he was very patient by nature, but still the news of his father's death made him restless. He thought, "Shame on me, in spite of myself being alive, the wicked Vaishman had killed my father. I have failed in my duty. Being a king, it is my duty to punish the wicked people and protect the virtuous ones." but my enemy is still alive after committing a heinous crime. Now I will perform my father's tarpan only with the blood of Vaishman. If I fail in doing this, then I would give up my life by jumping into the fire. I will not only kill Vaishman but also his whole family. Whoever tries to help him will be put to death. Even if the deities, Yama or Kubera, try to help him, they will get destroyed. Markandeya says, after taking a vow to kill Vaishman, Dhamma consulted his priests and ministers on his future course of action. All of them unanimously decided that Vaishman must be punished for his crime. At last, Dhamma marched along with a huge army towards Vaishman's kingdom. When Vaishman came to know of Dhamma's arrival, he became very angry. The battle commenced. The chief commander of Vaishman's army attacked Dhamma but was killed by Dhamma. Seeing his chief commander dead, Vaishman tried to flee from the battlefield with his army. Seeing him flee, Dhamma challenged Vaishman. Vaishman accepted Dhamma's challenge and turned back to fight again. A furious battle was fought. In a very short time, Dhamma killed all the 7 sons of Vaishman, his brothers, relatives, and his friends. Vaishman was extremely angry at the death of his near and dear ones, and he attacked Dhamma with his sword. But Dhamma, pulling Vaishman by his hair, felled him on the ground and put his feet on his neck, saying, I am now going to pierce the heart of this wicked and mean man. All the deities, human beings, sages should witness this scene. Saying this, Dhamma killed Vaishman. Blood started to ooze out from the wound inflicted on Vaishman's heart. Dhamma tried to drink that blood but was desisted from doing so by the deities. Then Dhamma performed the last rites of his father with that blood. In this way he took his revenge. The benefits of reading Markendeya Purana. The bird said, O Gemini, this was the way sage Markandeya had narrated the divine tales to Kraushiki. A person who either studies this Purana or listens to it achieves great accomplishment. All his desires are fulfilled and he enjoys a long life. He becomes free from all his sins. Markandeya Purana is the 7th among all the 18 Puranas. Listening to it helps a man to atone for all the sins committed during the period of 100 crore kalpas. The virtues attained by listening to Markandeya Purana are equivalent to the virtues attained by making donations at Pushkar or by studying all the Vedas. Jaimini replied, O birds, you have enlightened my mind by narrating the tales of Markandeya Purana and have made it free from all sorts of confusion. May the Almighty God bless you. May you enjoy a long life free from all the diseases. Saying like this, Jaimini went back to his hermitage. No impurity in case of the death of a child, an immigrant, and the one who has renounced everything. Even their cremation is not carried out, nor oblation of water is made. If one more death occurs in the family while the mourning period of the earlier death is still continuing, impurity of the second death lasts as long as that of the first one. Similar rules are applied to the impurity caused by the birth. Thus, abiding by these norms, the householder can easily attain the 4 objectives of life, that is, dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. King Alarka and his queries about yoga. Southward journey is also good for Shraddha. Apart from these above mentioned situations, one can also organize Shraddha in the following circumstances: at the time of great calamity, availability of items suitable for Shraddha; after a nightmare, during the period of birth, nakshatra, and during the period of unfavorable stars. On the first day of Shraddha, a virtuous Brahmin should be invited, while the host must observe total restraint. It is said that such a man who indulges in sexual intercourse on the same day after carrying out Shraddha or eating food of Shraddha causes his dead ancestors to sleep in semen for 1 month. Ancestors of such a man who performs Shraddha Immediately after having a sexual intercourse, drink urine and semen for 1 month. Hence, a virtuous Brahmin whom the host is intending to feed should be informed about the Shraddha one day earlier in advance. If a Brahmin is not available, a true celibate can be fed on the day of Shraddha. After the Brahmin has carried out all the necessary rituals, Havan, oblation, etc., he must be formally insisted to dine. All kinds of edible items that a Brahmin may wish to eat should be offered. While reciting the Rakshodhan mantra, grains of sesame and mustard should be scattered on the ground. After the Brahmin has dined, he should be offered with water to wash his hands and some cereals that should be scattered on the ground with his permission. Then, sitting on the seat of kusha grass, the host should offer a pind made of sesame seeds, barley flour, sugar, ghee. An oblation of water should follow it. At the end, the Brahmin should be seen off with proper dakshina. Only then the host is free to dine himself along with other invited guests and family members. Do's and don'ts during a Shraddha. Madalasa says, O son, I am now narrating about the do's and don'ts to be followed during Shraddha. Many kinds of edible items can be offered in the Shraddha. These include cereals like barley, wheat, rice, millet, corn, fish, flesh of deer, rabbit, bird, wild boar, goat, and nilagai. All these kinds of items are capable of pacifying the soul of dead ancestors for different period of time depending on the nature of offerings being made. Likewise, cereals offered in sacred fire cause satisfaction for 1 month. Fish causes satisfaction for 2 months. Flesh of deer causes satisfaction for 3 months. Flesh of rabbit causes satisfaction for 4 months. Flesh of bird causes satisfaction for 5 months. Flesh of wild boar causes satisfaction for 6 months. Flesh of goat causes satisfaction for 7 months. Flesh of different types of deer and antelope causes satisfaction for 8, 9, and 10 months respectively. Food items made of cow's milk and ghee and kheer cause satisfaction to the dead ancestors for 1 year. Different varieties of rice, barley, millet, wheat, sesame, mung dal, mustard are extremely satisfying food for the ancestors. Different types of pulses and corn can also be offered. Use of garlic, carrot, onion, radish, refined salt, red gum, goat is prohibited. Water that is stinking, forty, stale, or otherwise incapable of quenching a cow's thirst should also be discarded. Milk of doe, camel, goat, buffalo, and other one-hoof animals, yak, and such a cow that was milked.